What's up everyone, T-Bones here again with another speed paint, this time from a piece I did for Art Fight. I did enjoy doing Art Fight this year. It is my first year doing it. I got set onto Team Spice, which was pretty exciting. I really kind of joined it because I wanted to be pushed to make art. I have this horrible tendency of not having motivation to do anything, to create anything, and I thought this is what I needed. I needed someone who's judging me. To be honest, to force me to make art. Like, you don't want to be that jerk who someone makes art for them and you never make anything back, and you're like, God, they're not gonna like that. So I thought, like, yeah, why not? I didn't expect to see as many people as there was. Like, it's pretty popular, and it kind of blew my mind, these characters I saw. Like, amazing, wonderful, creative characters, and I kept bookmarking one after another. Like, I'm gonna do that one, I'm gonna do that one, I'm gonna do that one, I'm gonna do that one. And it was so much fun seeing all these characters. And then seeing them reminded me actually of where I got my start. Now, everyone knows DeviantArt. It's like the grandfather of all art websites. Everyone has been on DeviantArt, joined DeviantArt. Well, maybe not you younger kids, but at least I was. DeviantArt I actually stumbled across accidentally when I was in middle school, believe it or not, and it blew my mind. Like, I didn't even realize there was a whole website dedicated to artists. And at that point, I had only been doing, like, sketches and drawing. I was the girl who drew horses in the back of the class, that kind of person. And I found this website, and it had other artists like me, and I was blown away. And I'm looking at this art, and it's actually where I got my introduction to digital art. I did not know that was a thing besides paint. I didn't realize there was other programs, and much less drawing tablets. Like, what? So it was amazing. It really did open up a lot of opportunities to me, and I spent all my time on DeviantArt. I was in the chat rooms talking with my friends all the time. We were drawing for each other. We'd start up those draw sessions in like that weird Japanese program or something. I can't remember what it was called. But you start like these host sessions, and it's really cool because literally you can just draw together all on the same canvas, and you'd save them, and there was a whole bunch of silly doodles and all that. You draw your friend's character, they draw your character back, and that brings me to like characters. I used to have characters, a lot of them actually, constantly drawing them. My first one was actually officially Ember, Ember, yeah, Ember. And I remember her so distinctly. She was a black wolf, but she had flames marking on her feet with like red hair, and her hair was a mohawk, and she had piercings and gloves and a spiky collar. And I was really into like the emo scene at that point, so of course she had a lot of that kind of influence to it. And she was my favorite character. I loved her to bits. And I guess nowadays she's what you would call a sparkle dog. Anything that's more of like unrealistic. Like, dogs can't have piercings. Dogs can't have flame decals. Sparkle dogs. Everyone's made a sparkle dog. You can't deny it. I mean, they're fun. That's the thing. They're a lot of fun. And I made all kinds of characters. And I was really into like wolves and dragons and monsters and emo stuff, and that's what I drew. And and it was great. It still is great. I mean, I still look back on that so fondly, thinking of hours I've talked, hours upon hours, just chatting and drawing and just being a kid. And while DeviantArt is where I got my start, where I could see these tutorials, that blew my mind. I remember my first tutorial, like looking at it, going like, "Oh my God, look at this treasure trove of information." I was suddenly able to see the inside the minds of other artists, professional artists, popular artists, and see how they did their work, how they got certain things done, and like how they drew this and how they did that. And I mean, this was such an upgrade from those books that I used to get from the library. I don't know if you've seen these before, but they're like how to draw books. And it's like, draw a circle. Now connect a line here, and it goes step by step, and boom, you drew a horse. Yeah, I used to check those out at the library all the time. I pretty much had those memorized. And so now I had this access to really in-depth tutorials all the time. But the problem was is you had a lot of access to people constantly. And a big thing in the art community that sometimes gets on my nerves, I guess, is artists can sometimes be very particular. You have like this really popular artist, and I'm looking at their work, and you stumble across something they've said. And for instance, I remember coming across an artist, and they said, never ever use straight black and white. Like it's just not, it's not what artists do. It's not what good artists do. And that stuck really hard with me for a while. I was terrified. Like I used to shade with black because shadows are black. I know better now about what they mean by like not shading with black. It's just because of color theory and all that. But like I was terrified for the longest time using straight black and white to the point where I was so sure that it was right. I would call out other artists for using straight black and white, thinking I was valid in that. Another thing is like sparkle dogs. Everyone says they're cringy. And even I want to sometimes look back and think it's cringy. But I have to think like, why? Why do I think it's cringy? Why is someone who's enjoying what they're doing and making art that they love and it's not hurting anyone, so why is it cringy? Just because what, you think you've grown up past it? Like no one grows up past it, okay? Everyone secretly deep down wants to draw a sparkle dog. And there's nothing wrong with that. Have fun with it. Make your sparkle dog. Make your half god, half demon, half angel, whatever you want. You know? I mean, like, look at, there's Dragon Ball Z exists. No one calls that cringy. It's a work of art. And that's like the epitome of Mary Sue's sparkle dogs. You know? I mean, just have fun. Make your Super Saiyan dog. I mean, go for it. It's it's this whole idea that I grew up into this DeviantArt world where I was told these do's and don'ts, these hard yes and no's. And I'm still trying to grow out of it. As an adult, I'm almost 30 years old, and I'm still trying to get over those humps of like in the back of my head going like, that's not what good artists do. I'm like, I am a good artist, and I'm doing it. So it's okay. I can use straight black. I can use straight white. I can make a sparkle dog. I can make living room art. Did you guys ever hear that phrase before? Living room art? I heard it a lot in college. It was an insult if someone said your art was living room art. And I had to stop and think, why? What's bad about living room art? Oh, well, it's just art has no meaning to it, has no depth to it. Okay, so? Like, why does art always have to have a meaning? Why does art always have to be deep and profound and, like thought-provoking? Why can't you make living room art? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with having fun and making something enjoyable? I can tell you that some of my favorite pieces that I made in college were considered living room art because I wasn't stuck on this whole idea that I had to be smarter or wiser or better than I was. It was just me making art that I loved. And yeah, maybe it was generic. Maybe it's something anyone can hang up in their living room, but that's a compliment. If someone wants to hang it, I don't care. This whole idea that you only want people buying your work who understand the wokeness of art is stupid. Okay, if a single mom wants to buy my artwork to hang up in her living room to make it look a little bit nicer for her family, as in their small apartment, go for it. Please do. I want you to have that. Art brings joy, and so you should have joy when making it. People can tell if you enjoy making your art or not. They can tell if it's something you want to be doing. It really shows through in your work. And so why would you just sit there and make stuff you don't like? Why would you sit there and just deal with it? Because you want other artists to think you're woke? You want other artists to not call you living room art? Screw it. Like, just have fun. And I think that's what I'm still trying to get into is having fun with my art. Having fun making it again and just letting myself make things not with the worry on if anyone's going to like it or if anyone wants it, just because I want to make it. I got a really big start with For Affinity, and to this day I am beyond grateful for all of the people who ever commissioned me, talked to me, worked with me in For Affinity, because they really did shape me as an artist, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. And that's when I was taken seriously. I had people who finally, they wanted to pay for my work. Do you know how mind-blowing that is to an artist? When someone comes to you and like, I want to pay you to make artwork for me. Like, that's when you go like, I made it. I'm there. I'm getting there. I'm at a point where people want my work. And I did commissions. Oh man, for years, just commissions, 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 commissions. But that was the problem, wasn't it? All I did was commissions and I burnt myself out hardcore. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I thought it was furry art that was burning me out. And so I quit from it. I left it. And I can see now, like hindsight 2020, it wasn't the furry art. It's the fact that all I did was work. I never drew for me. I never did anything I thought I would enjoy. I just constantly did work, and I made some great friends, and I drew some amazing characters, and I really kind of, worked on my style. But you have to take time for you. You have to take time to make art you love. Do things you want to do. I mean, like, it doesn't even have to be art. You want to have a day playing video games? Have a day playing video games. I did. I did 2 days of Hollow Knight. It was great. It's what I needed, and now I'm charged, refreshed, and I'm going back at it. Don't just suction yourself into work thinking like this is the end goal. I mean, you have this talent. You can use it on yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. So maybe like don't take 50 commissions on at a time like I did. Take on 3, and in between each one, do something for you. Have some fun. I think that's why it's great that this Patreon exists, because like artists need to still fund themselves, right? But they often find that their personal pet projects, people love it. Because it turns out people don't love you just because you can take commissions. People love you because you make art that they love. You make work that is fun, inviting, and they want to see more of it. Whether it's through commission, whether it's through Patreon. So I think as long as you love your art, people will love your art too. And that's what you just need. And have fun with it. That's how you love art, not by setting restrictions, but by letting it be free. Art isn't about hard lines. The only hard lines you make in art is with a ruler. Let's be honest here, right? And even that you usually end up scratching out because it doesn't look natural. The point is art is fluid, dynamic, fun, enjoyable, and it can be whatever you want. It can be a sparkle dog. It can be living room art. I mean, you want to draw furries? Draw furries. They're great. You want to draw dragons? Draw a fucking dragon. It'll be great. You're going to love it. I want to draw a dragon now. I miss drawing dragons. I'm going to draw a dragon. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to draw a dragon together. But just remember, art's for you first. And if people love your art, they'll love you. And that's fine. But you have to love your art first before anyone else is going to love your art. It's kind of like you got to love yourself before you can love someone else. So just keep that in mind. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate it, you guys. You know how the drill. I got my Instagram, Twitter, and all that. And I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.